in that one comment, he admitted he reads everything, he watches everything.
Oh, no, he
knows
does
what
now.
Everyone's saying about him, and that could very well be his first problem.
He watches our show, Jenna. He's not happy with some of the comments you made about him. He's texted a couple people out there, so I'm
not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all. But I have reason. Stu, what'd you think of KD's comments?
I'm going a different direction. I think it would be easy to be critical of his comments, and I don't really want to go there. I would say my memo to KD would be this, is that you are not crazy. What you are is the second best player on the planet and arguably will go down as one of the top 15 players ever in the NBA, and that's being conservative, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, all right, this is bigger than you, Kevin. All right? It's about your legacy that you're going to leave in this game and about you as a person. All right? Don't worry about the media. Engage them and dismiss them. Take a break and a page out of LeBron's book. Get off of social media. All right? Just take a break and then hire a competent PR professional, which I think is crucial for the rest of your career. And then the good news is, this image that you have now can be rehabilitated in time. So that's the real positive. So I'm going by way of the formula to rehab this situation because I don't want to be critical because I don't know what you can say.
He can't stay away. He's said he wants. You're right. He probably does have to if he wants all this stuff to go and if he does want to rehab his reputation. But he's already said, I'm off social media, and 5 seconds later, he's back on. He said, I'm not going to engage anymore, and he re-engages. There's something in him that is compelled to have to react to everything that's out there.
Well, you know, one thing I would offer is that, and I said this yesterday, he's a little bit of a product of the social media communication age. And my recommendation would be this, is that he's from a terrific family. He has great role models. Right? He needs to go back and talk to those people, all right? His mother, his relatives, the people that have guided him. They may have a different view of what this situation is here publicly for him to help him move forward.
There's a level of this that I empathize with heavily because it feels like an odd self-destructive mechanism. Because here's the thing, professionally, his life could not be going better. He is, as you mentioned, one of the 2 greatest players in the world. He is already, if he stopped playing today, I think he's one of the 30 greatest players ever. And you're talking about where he could end up in the Pantheon. He's a minted champion. He's got generational upon generational wealth on the court and off the court. So that's an A+ going in his life. Let's take the really important stuff you do, charitable works. He has done amazing things in his communities, whether it be Oklahoma City, his hometown, or in the Bay Area.
He showed up at a touch football game in Oklahoma City.
He does that, and in the Bay Area, I just read recently, I'm talking over $10 million of his money into the community for young people. All these things. The only way he can be talked about negatively is by doing these things to himself on social media. So that's why I said it's self-destructive. And those comments there, it's an odd victim complex, like, oh, you guys are all out to get me. We didn't spin the wheel of NBA stars and land on Kevin Durant. He's the only one that acts like this. He's the only NBA star that has decided I'm going to act online like I'm not who I am. And whether it's fair or not, you have to, at this point, a year and a half in, recognize people are going to react accordingly. People on these shows, your peers otherwise, are going to say, why are you acting like that?
Yeah, there's 2 traits that I really hate in people, and hate is not too strong of a word. Number one is when people are lazy. And the only thing that I hate more than the people are lazy are the talented people that are lazy. Now, Kevin Durant's not that. Nick, you'll know this because we have talks about it all the time. I hate people who don't have perspective. And the only thing I hate more than people who don't have perspective are people that are in the public eye, famous or being rich, and they don't have perspective. So I get on the subway after I leave here. I know what I'm dealing with. I'm in New York City. I got perspective on who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing all the time. And that's just something that Kevin Durant, he doesn't have. because he said, hey, man, you guys read Bleacher Report, you get gassed up and everything. He acts like he's just a normal citizen. Man, when you are playing sports, man, you surrender what your privacy is. You surrender all those things for the limelight and the benefits that you can make $30 million dribbling a basketball. Those things you surrender. And that right there, Kevin doesn't understand or have the type of perspective. So for me, I got no problem with Kevin Durant's basketball game. I love him. He's a superstar, man. His game is amazing. I've been watching the NBA for 40 years. And he's special. Out of all the players, he is a special player. Now, have I seen other people in the limelight struggle with getting a grip on the reality of and the gravity of it? Yeah, and Kevin Durant would be in that class.
And I got a good piece of advice early in my radio career. And again, I'm not trying to compare myself to Kevin Durant at all, except in this way. As soon as you go into media, you're a public figure to a degree. Like, he's a true superstar celebrity. I was just a local public figure. And I was struggling a lot with the same thing KD seems to be dealing with, which is strangers on the internet talking trash to me. Twitter was new to me, and it bothered me. I would combat with them. And a buddy of mine had been doing media for a long time. He said, hey, Nick. He said, you can always just go get a job at Home Depot. And then nothing against anyone who works at Home Depot. He's like, guess what will never happen to you at Home Depot? Someone walk up to you in the saw aisle and say, you know what? Your takes suck. You suck. He's like, but you've opted in. You have opted into being a public figure. There's a lot of cool things that come along with it. Maybe when you're at Home Depot, they give you a discount because they like you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that go along with it. You can't accept all the good and act as if the few bad things don't exist. And the thing that is so perplexing to me is all of our other superstar athletes seem to get it. Like, LeBron hadn't had a bad tweet in his whole career. Steph, I don't even know if Steph's on Twitter. Like, and people come after Steph's wife's restaurant on Yelp. Like, all these guys. James Harden learned, I'm too big of a star to go to the strip club every night. Like, he had to deal with that when he got to Houston. Like, he thought he could, realized, no, they gave me a max deal. People are going to. It's an odd blind spot for him, because he tweeted yesterday, because I'm in the NBA, I can't be on Twitter. Man, Spencer Dinwiddie can.
Yeah. How does this play out if you see this forward? This isn't going to affect him on the court. This isn't going to affect his time in Golden State. This isn't going to affect other teams from bringing him in if he wants to leave there. I mean, if he doesn't change, which he seemed to have a hard time doing, how do you see this playing out for a guy like Kevin Durant?
Well, I alluded to it earlier. I really believe it affects his legacy negatively. He's done so many great things on the floor and off the floor, as Nick mentioned. And to me, that's who he really is. I think that's who he's always been. But, he's just missed something here. You called it a blind spot. I had an old coach tell me one time, Chris, and you can learn from old coaches. A guy by the name of Jimmy Lynam, he used to coach in Philadelphia, St. Joe's, became an NBA coach. And he said to me one time, he said, Stewie, you know what the key to life is? You got to know who you are. That's what he always said. And he said, what I suggest to you is always just try to be a normal guy. And I would say the same thing to Kevin Durant. Know who you are. And he has all the signs around him. He's embraced by other NBA players that he could speak to about this issue. He's fortunate enough to have a wonderful family, a wonderful mother that I'm sure would engage in that conversation with him and give him advice. Use those people to help sort of mold and get back and present who you really are.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.